Week 17, still amazed, but welcome back. Want to talk about boundaries, but that's kind of a weird word. It kind of triggers some people. So I call them parameters. I want you to think about the three little pigs. Do you remember that story where there were three little pigs and they were building, well, there was a wolf always trying to attack them. So they were going to build houses to protect themselves. Well, the first little pig built it out of straw. And of course, the wolf came along and blew it away. So he ran to his other brother's house. Well, the other brother had built it out of twigs. Similar story, didn't last long. So both of those two pigs ran to their other brother's house, who had built it out of bricks. He had taken the time and the energy to build it out of bricks. Whereas the other ones built them quickly and kind of played around, he actually used his entire time to prepare. And the wolf couldn't huff and puff and blow his house down. And that's what parameters are like for us. We need to set up, I want to call them rules. I don't know if they're rules, but things that we won't tolerate in our life. We define who we are, how we feel about things, and what we'll tolerate. And we don't allow anything else to happen but that. It's also a way of saying no. And that's difficult, especially if you're a people pleaser like I was. I always said yes, thinking, well, then they'll think I'm so special and wonderful, and then I'll be really well liked and it'll be awesome. Well, it isn't awesome. You get worn out and nobody really appreciates it as much as you do, right? So yes, I'm very service oriented. I do a lot of work in the community, but I do it when I want to and when I have the energy for it. Yeah, that's the important part. So I say yes when I can and no when I can't. And you know what I ask myself when somebody asks me to do something, I just say, you know what, let me get back to you, because my first inclination is say, oh, yes, 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 of course I will, because I can. But should I? Do I have the time? Do I have the energy? Is this the right time to be doing it? Am I going to give up time with my family in order to do that? Or is there something else that's more important to be doing? And those are the questions I ask myself. So I have to give myself a chance, because truthfully, I'll just shout, oh, yes, of course I want to do that. Yes, yes, yes. When are we getting together? No, I say, you know what? Let me get back to you. Let me check. So then I think about it and I think, is this something that is in my heart that I want to be doing? Is this something that I desire? You know what? If it isn't, it isn't. And that's okay. If it is, great. I go for it. If it works out with my schedule, fantastic. But if it's something I'm doing just so that people will like me, no. No, that isn't how it works. But that's the programming I had. That's the mental filter that I have, is that you need to be doing X, Y, and Z so people will like you. But that isn't how it works. And nor should it be that way. We don't need to be work at other things just to make people like us. So these parameters, aka boundaries, need to be set. And once you set them, you can't fudge on them. So you decide, I'm not going to whatever it is, right? And then you stick to it. So if your thing is, I'm not just going to say, yes, I can do it, I'm going to actually honor my own time, then you need to do that. And I always say, you can't pour from an empty vessel. So if you've allowed yourself to get empty and you've emptied out all your energy, then you don't have anything else to give. And that's not right. You need to be able to give when you want to give. So protecting yourself, protecting your energy, saying yes when you want to or no when you want to is very important skill. But it kind of takes practice. If you haven't done it much, saying no is kind of funny. And I know that I used to believe, my kids used to believe, that you had to give an explanation when you said no. That's not true. That's not true. You don't owe anyone an explanation of why you said no. Even if they ask, you can just say, I'm sorry, I don't have time for that right now. And that's enough. Now, I told my kids, you don't need to give a reason, an excuse. You don't need to lie. You just say, no, I can't, or no, I don't want to. That's also an okay thing to say. No, I don't want to. And then I turn it around to myself, because it's hard for me to do that. So I turn it around and I think, well, how would I feel if somebody said that to me? Wouldn't bother me. So then I realized it doesn't bother other people either. The only person it's going to bother is me if I say yes and I have to do it even though I don't have time for it. Does that make sense? Because it's so important that we protect our own energy and our own family schedule and our own work schedule and everything else, we have to put certain things first. And if we say yes to everything, we will get pretty worn out, and then we start snapping at people, and that isn't what we want. That causes so many troubles. Oh my gosh. So think about that for this week. I want you to think about saying no. That sounds so weird, doesn't it? But choosing, I guess, is a better way. Choosing what it is you truly want to do. Setting parameters for how you're going to allow people to treat you, how many things you're going to do. You know that how people treat you, it actually comes from how you treat yourself. So if you make fun of yourself, other people will make fun of you. If you belittle yourself, other people will belittle you. If you say yes and no because you want to do this or you don't want to do that, that sets the tone that you are to be respected, and other people will realize that and they'll respect you. So there's a lot of implications, ramifications, outcomes from setting parameters. And they're so important to set specifically for you. Because I know you want to be ready to do the best job, be the best parent, be the best employee, be the best wife or husband, be the best sister or brother, whatever it is, you or daughter or son, you want to be able to do your best in all of the roles in your life. And in order to do that, you've got to protect your time and energy. And so set those parameters. It's going to take some time. And you might need to work through it and understand, when do I say yes and why do I say yes to everything? Or alternately, why do I say no to everything? That's another thing. Maybe you got it too narrow and now you don't do anything. Well, that's another thing that you've got to adjust. So adjust your parameters so that they make the best life possible for you. Because isn't that what we want? Yes, say yes. All right, talk to you later. Bye.